Okay, hi everyone. Thanks for joining us. Um, Today we're going to be speaking about sustaining a culture of operational excellence in small and mid-sized companies. This, in case you didn't join us last week, this is kind of a repeat of last week's webinar that was given in the U.S. time zone. So here today, obviously, we're trying to accommodate our EMEA and APAC friends. On the line with my colleague Chris Wellard, who's going to be I co-host. Feel free to send us questions in the chat, which we're going to get to near the end of the demo. But feel free to start putting them in there from the beginning. We'll answer your questions via chat and probably open up the lines in case there's some opportunities to answer questions verbally. So without further ado, just a bit about the agenda. I'm going to talk a little bit about Chris and myself, so you get to know us if you don't already. And then we're going to be speaking about who's this for. Then we'll be doing the actual operational readiness demo on the Presto PDCA software, and then we open it up for Q&A. So taking that forward, just about Chris and myself, we're operational excellence consultants. Chris is a little more geared towards strategy, deployment, and Hoshinkanri. I'm coming from process improvement. Our experience comes from multinational organizations, especially organizations that are geared towards change management. We have clients of all sizes, and we like to help clients become process focused, and we do so with the solution you're about to see called Presto PDCA, which has now been in the market since 2017. So what we like to highlight, if you're considering using this software is not for everybody. It's for companies that are ready to embrace a growth focused culture. And what that means, being growth focused, it means you're ready to embrace a daily discipline, and you're ready to embrace taking on a little bit more work now so you can have an easier and more systematized lifestyle in the future. And hopefully you'll understand what I mean as you see the structure of setting up your company in Presto involves that you need to consider your operating model. You need to consider people, process, the organization of all these things, and of course the technology that supports these things. So today's demo, we're going to be looking at DuPont toy, Swiss toy manufacturer since 1937, and you can see they make a wide variety of toys. Their objective now is to become more digital so they can become more global. So we're going to focus today on a couple Industry 4.0 activities that are based using Presto's operational readiness modules so that you can keep your assets under watch, keep them under control, and perform any maintenance or preventative maintenance in a timely manner so you avoid unexpected issues and deviation. So without further ado, here's Samuel DuPont. He's the general manager of DuPont. You can see he has 6 direct reports. And as he's looking at the Presto dashboard, what he's seeing his company from the top down. So he's seeing his direct reports. He's seeing how many teams each direct report is responsible for. So you can see the manufacturing team managed by Mike has 4 teams underneath it. He's seeing how many people are on those teams, and he's seeing how many business processes each department, each director, each team is responsible for. And what you can do from there, you can then zoom into your company. And this is the heavy lifting that we like to refer to when somebody joins us as a new client. We say, okay, let's get your company on the dashboard, and then we can start making your company better. But the first things first, we need the owner, the users, to understand their business operating model. And of course, if they don't, the software is going to help you get to this point. We can help you get to this point if you need us. In this case, let's take a look at the manufacturing team, which has a total of 8 people, 20 processes. When you click on it and you zoom into Mike's team, you can see who his direct reports are, because now we're at level -1, starting at level 0. And you can see what people and what processes each team member is responsible for. Taking things even further, if you want to know anything about those processes, I'm not going to spend that much time on it today, but it's important that you know, if you want to know what those processes are, if you want to know what those 6 processes are in Anna's assembling team, simple click will allow you to pop up a screen and begin to look at the process catalog and do a bunch of things with that process catalog. One of those things is standard work and preventative maintenance. So let's jump into the system so you can see this in action. Here we are on the Presto dashboard. There's Samuel DuPont. When you click on any picture, you go straight to this team management pop-up screen. You also get the possibility to start navigating around your company using the organizational chart. So you can see I clicked on Mike DeMaio. He's responsible for 4 teams, 8 people. And you can see there's Anna on the assembling team. She's got 3 people. Let's jump to the manufacturing team to see this. So what you see now is exactly what Mike sees when he logs into Presto. He's at this level of the company. He can see his 8 people. He can see his 20 business processes. There's Anna. She's responsible for 6 processes. And you can open those up and you can start getting a look at what is going on in the company, what people are doing. Now, as you can see, this is a cultural change for many companies, because what you're doing is you're asking your team leaders to now be responsible for their processes by cataloging them. And that's the starting point. Is it a lot to ask every team leader to know from a macro, micro point of view what they do, and to be able to efficiently communicate that up the food chain? If you think it is, then this software is probably not for you. If you think, no, this is absolutely what we require from a team lead at the bare minimum, then this software is definitely something to consider if you're focused towards lean manufacturing, lean management, and process improvement activities. Okay, so part 2, let's talk about the assets in your company and how to report those assets. So we're going to jump now onto the asset management dashboard, where you can see in DuPont, we've grouped our assets into 4 categories: physical assets, financial assets, intellectual property, and digital assets. And what you get here now is you're going to get the possibility to see anything that needs your attention. And I think without even explaining this dashboard, you know immediately that anything that's in yellow, and especially anything that's in red, is an asset that needs attention. It's either out of order or it has some maintenance that needs to be done, and you're approaching the risk date, the due date. So immediately, if you're Samuel DuPont managing this company, you know that you should take a look at manufacturing that has something red. Purchasing and logistics has something red, and I'll show you how that works in a second. But before I do, I just give a more detailed explanation of the 4-tier asset taxonomy. So we've created these 4. Now you can change this, but this is what we strongly recommend. It works very well, whether you're a services company or a manufacturing company, whether you're a small company or whether you're a large company. This is a great way to just get your company thinking about assets. Highlight that this is what you're about to see now. It's not a solution to substitute an asset management system that you may already have. It definitely does a lot of things if you want it to, but this is more of an asset management feature to allow you to integrate assets with your operational readiness activities, your issue management, your standard work, your change the company activities. So we like to call this our operational readiness feature, but of course, a lot of people call this asset management. So our physical assets, you can see we have 3 tiers: real estate, equipment, inventory, furniture, and there's tier 3. Financial assets, cash and equivalents, investments, accounts receivable, insurance policies, intellectual property, patents, trademarks, copyrights, and trade secrets, and digital assets, software, databases, web assets, and digital marketing. Now, my company, we've put this 3-tier asset taxonomy onto our dashboard. The feature is quite new, so we and a few of our clients are already testing this, but I have to say this 3-tier taxonomy works very well. I haven't found any asset in the company that doesn't fit nicely into this. But again, if you start using the system, or if you're already using the system, feel free to challenge this and feel free to change these things. But of course, reach out to us if you want to discuss this, if you think there's a better way to do it. So when you get onto the dashboard now, and you can see we got things that need my assistance, you zoom in just like you did earlier with the processes. And what you see here now, you see details of the manufacturing team's operational readiness asset portfolio, physical assets. So you can see we got a conveyor belt system, Dorner 2200 series, out of service. Next review date's on the 30th of September. Packaging machine, attention required. Equipment insurance policy, as a financial asset, it's an insurance policy, attention required, probably needs to be paid, probably needs to be updated or sent, who knows. And of course, when you click on these things and you zoom into them, you get to see those things immediately based on how the asset owner has updated it. What else do we have? A manufacturing data warehouse as a digital asset. So your databases are now being tracked. It's a very important thing you should do in your company when you have databases, especially if you're a small company. You have databases of customers, you have databases of prospects, you have databases of newsletter people, things like that. Those are company assets. And if you don't actually track those things, you don't actually are aware of them, you could lose valuable information that will come back later to hurt you. So having a look at this on the dashboard, you can see, let's jump to the assets dashboard. Here we are, and you can see we're on Mike's team. He has one physical asset, it's red. I open it up and I can see he has a conveyor belt system, donor, out of service. What about Anna? She has one physical asset as well, assembly line, flex line. I'm going to take a look at all of Mike's assets, and you can see here physical assets, financial assets, intellectual property, digital assets. And of course, if I go up one level, we're going back to Samuel's level. And now you can see completely consolidated Mike's level. Let's take a look at Samuel's assets in the actual CEO's office. Apple iPhone 15 Pro Max. So he has a company asset. They've assigned him his Apple iPhone. There it is. And then you can come in here and you can start updating things. You can say, you know what, it's not out of service. We've fixed this. It's now okay. And you save this. And this is the same place where you create your assets as well. And now you can see it's green. If you want to put some notes in there, we can say service provided maintenance by Dario. He's our facility management specialist. And now when you see a little black ball, you know somebody's put a note in there. So now you're starting to keep track of company assets in a better way. There's our Apple iPhone. What else does he have? He has a conference room table. He has an executive desk. So these are just some assets that you're putting on the dashboard that you want the company to start tracking. There's the company car, his Jaguar. Obviously, there's a lot of things that we can link to somebody's company car, and you're going to see how we do that in a second. So part 3, digitize standard work and preventative maintenance best practices. Now this here is the real automation that Presto offers you, that allows you to start capturing know-how, stop losing information, stop forgetting things, and getting people to be more process focused. So what you can do now with your processes on your dashboard, as you saw earlier, you can now start putting digital checklists in there. And this serves so that the whole company can look down on your process portfolio and zoom into any process at any given time and know what it is to do that process, know what step by step, who's working on those steps, and any special information or documents that are needed to do those things. And that's what I'm also going to highlight here. While you're on your process dashboard, you are also flagging documents. So you can see we got our processes, we got our digital checklist, but we're also putting in there any documents at the process level. We're lining them up to say these are documents you use for those processes. One thing you should, I'm not going to go too much into it today, but very important to know, you're not uploading any documents. You're just linking them to your shared drive. So wherever those documents already exist, you're just asking the document owner and the process owner, and should probably be the same person, to link the document, link the file to the process. So what this means is that you're going to go in and be able to click on that link and see the document regardless of where it's saved. So this allows you to stop losing information and allows people to link their documents to the company's operating model without having to be completely organized behind the scenes. As you know, team by team, shared drive folder structures are often completely different. Team by team, department by department, and a lot of times it creates a lot of confusion, and a lot of people are asking where things are. This is going to allow you to start reducing that friction, and it's going to allow you to start becoming much more efficient in sharing information. So what we'll do now, here we are. Let's talk about the 3D printer that this company manages. They just invested in a 3D printer, and they want to get the most of this investment. It's very expensive, not just for the cost of the printer, but also for the training, also for the opportunities that they can explore. You can definitely bite off more than you can chew with this opportunity. You can invest in a bunch of things that you're not going to be able to do them completely. So what we want to do, we want to start tracking everything about the printer. And the first thing we're going to talk about is maintaining it. So you see we have a nice preventative maintenance checklist for the printer. And here's our facilities maintenance team run by Martino. You can see he's responsible to maintain the printer, and there's his digital checklist. So what we'll do here, let's jump to engineering. I'm going to click on engineering. You can see here is our actual printer, the digital printer assigned to Mario, the engineering director. If I take a look, there it is. You can see here's our digital printer, great. But what I want to highlight is that here's the maintenance team, and there's 15 processes. Martino's the head of the team, and he has his preventative maintenance for machines and equipment, and there's your 3D printer MakerBot replicator. So you've got a preventative maintenance checklist dedicated solely to this asset that they've just invested in. If I open up this here, you can see here's the checklist to do preventative maintenance on the printer, and you can see safety check, but visual inspection check. Here's our RACI matrix at the highest level on who should be doing preventative maintenance on this process. And if you click on the I at any step, you're going to see more descriptions. Now, there's a bunch of things you can do. We're not going to talk about them today. Just what's important is that you put the title of your step and you put your description. So this in itself gives visibility to anybody in the company how to carry out this standard work, how to carry out this preventative maintenance. Now, we spoke about documents. You can see he has one document in here for the 3D printer. I'm going to open that up, and you can see user manual for 3D printer MakerBot 457XH. It's a Word document. So he's linked now to his process, this user manual. And you do so by this panel over here, where you link using your agreed document taxonomy. So you can see he's selected it's a user manual job aid. And then there's a couple different level 2 subgroups. He's chosen user manual. There's the name of the actual document. And here's the link to the shared file, the shared drive. So what that means now is anybody can come in here, and as long as you have access to the shared drive, if you click on that, on the name of the document, you go straight to the shared drive, and you can see immediately, there's our user manual for preventative maintenance. So this now allows Martino to share this with anybody that's doing these steps. They don't need to know where the document is, because this will automatically be included as a template in every preventative maintenance activity. So from that point of view, you can see we've put into the system, we've put a digital checklist step by step, we've put a RACI matrix, and we've put a document to support this. So it's taking us one step closer to having this perfect digital company where we know roles and responsibilities are well defined, and they're correctly aligned to the operating model, to the people that actually benefit from the internal processes. So you can see here now, step 4, now what we're going to do is we have our checklist. Now we're going to leverage the plan, do, check, act cycle to perform a preventative maintenance activity. Before we do, I want to give a little introduction of the PDCA dashboard. And what you see here now, you can see this is the website management team. 3 tasks are being planned, 3 tasks are being done. One task is in the act phase. In other words, it's been done, but we need to probably share lessons learned or celebrate success or thank the staff, depending on how you approach the plan, do, check, act cycle. That's the framework you're going to put in place. So in this case here, I want to highlight, if you click on that button, you can see on this team, there's our three projects are in the plan phase, 2 are in the do, 1's in the act phase. And what this view gives you here now, this completely revolutionizes how you approach your daily activities, because when you see your work in this framework, well, anything in the act phase, in most situations, it belongs to the directors. Now that blue means that the phase is complete, just in case you were wondering. Green means it's underway, yellow means it's at risk, red means it's delayed. So in the act phase, basically, we're engaging directors. A lot of times, anything in the act phase is an idea or something that needs to be approved. We could also use the word, instead of act for acknowledge, you could also use some use APP, meaning approved. Somebody needs to approve that this work needs to get done. But once it gets approved, once it gets acknowledged, you're now in the plan phase. And who does the planning? Team leaders plan. They align company resources to company needs. So the team leaders are deciding which tasks need to be done, what's the time frame, and which team members are going to be involved in those tasks. And that's what planning is all about. But once they do that, here's where Presto allows you to become that leadership-focused organization, because you're now going to train team leaders to be more patient, get out of the way, and let the staff do. And that's what you're going to get in the do phase. So at this point in time, things get done, and then team leaders are back into the activities, checking, they're reviewing, they're making sure that the work that was performed correctly. And in how many times in organizations does this step get neglected? Something gets done, but all kinds of other things happen in the process, and then nobody really signs off on it to see if it was delivered at the level of quality. Sometimes things get done and they don't even get used because, again, mid and senior management didn't get involved enough to figure out how to capitalize on the work that was done. And then finally, going back to the discussion of the act phase directors, in most cases, you want to have mid or senior level management know that if a lesson was learned, it should be shared across the company, even if the team leaders don't know that there's other departments that could use the know-how of the lessons that were learned. Acting is also about thanking your staff and making sure you celebrate success. And that's a director's job. That's, team leaders that are great. They do those things naturally. But of course, in companies where things are slowing down, where there's not a great work culture, it's probably because directors are not thanking their staff and celebrating success and sharing lessons learned. And this is going to allow you to start putting your company in a position to handle that theme in a more productive way. So keeping that in mind, let's talk about the printer again. Here we are. We're going to talk about let's carry out this preventative maintenance, but let's think about plan, do, check, act. And you can see already in our checklist, we've highlighted which steps are aligned to which PDCA phase in the change cycle. So I'm going to open that up again, and you can see approve the activity launch, and we flag that as acknowledge. Plan the preventative maintenance schedule, and we put the plan there. And of course, you can change these things very easy by saying this is do, check, act, not applicable, and then acknowledge. In this case, this is the plan task. So what we're going to do now, we're going to jump onto the PDCA dashboard. Here we are, and let's imagine we're going to now schedule and carry out preventative maintenance for the 3D printer. So I open this up. I'm going to highlight, we're going to do this on Mario's team. We're going to use a standard work one-step Kanban board, and we're going to manually title it for now 3D printer preventative maintenance. Okay, I'm going to save that. And now that I save this, you can see I'm in here's my task list, and I've set this up so that nothing's in there to start. And we're going to say, let's upload our process checklist. And here's our process checklist. There it is, 3D printer. So now I'm going to import that. And you can see here's the checklist that you were looking at earlier from the process link. So from the process dashboard. So you can see approve all activity launch. Now we've pre-configured the Kanbans to say, we want the act phase to always be read from the beginning. We want people to know something's been acknowledged. We need you to go look at it and tell us yes or no, especially if it's something of high importance or urgency. If it's an issue, you want this to always be read immediately. Due date today, pre-configured, as you can see. We actually put it for tomorrow. So if I close this now, you're going to see here's our, here we are in the act phase. If I open that up, you can see there's the activity we just booked, 3D printer. And I'm going to say, well, we've acknowledged this. I'm going to tick that box. And now you can see we're officially in the plan phase. So I tick that box from the plan phase. If I close that, you can see now that's blue, that's yellow. There we are in the plan phase, and there it is. It's yellow. I'm going to open that up again, and I'm going to put us in the do phase. So I tick this box, and I'm going to tick this box here, plan preventative maintenance exercise. That's done. And now we've pre-configured our Kanban board to say, as soon as plan's done, we're officially in the do phase. So any due tasks are automatically green. Now I could have even put a pre-configured due date, but in this case here, we wanted to stay a bit flexible. So now I can close this, and you can see here we are in the do phase. I open this up, and you can see there we are. So let's do the safety check is going to be done by the 2nd of August. So you can see there's that. So now when I close this, your dashboard is going to start taking dates, and it's going to say the due date for this is on the 2nd of August. Now, if we go through all of this correctly, we're going to put a more detailed due dates, and it's probably this last one here. Let's just imagine the cleaning needs to be done by the 6th of August. And I'll close this, and you can see immediately this date just keeps getting pushed out based on the first and the last date you put in. One last thing now, you can zoom into things. You can zoom into tasks. You can zoom into the projects. I'll zoom into this task here, the safety check, which is due on the 2nd. You can see there it is, safety check. There's the description for the safety check. You can see there's my due date. Let's give it a start date. So I'm going to say, let's start this today. So you can see this should be done in the next 2 days. Now, the other thing I want to do, let's imagine that I want myself, me, Andrew, to do this. Now, keep in mind, I logged in as Samuel. As you can see, there's my little Samuel's picture here, but let's assign it to me, myself, and say, Andrew's going to do this. So I'm going to put my name in there. Now you can see there I am in the RACI matrix for this task. And you can see here now, there's my initials. So you know immediately who's responsible for that. Now, for the rest of it, we're going to say Dario is responsible. Martino is responsible for this activity. So there he is. And let's imagine Samuel wants to be kept informed. And let's imagine that Danny wants to be, is our consulted party. She knows things about this. If we need help, we can go to her. So you can see that's a high level RACI matrix. So now what I can do, I can start sending emails to people and I can start pushing this activity. So here I am on the dashboard and I'm going to say, you know what, let's push an email. Now this here completely changes, it completely revolutionizes how people work in your company, making them work quicker. So I open this up and I can see all the people in the RACI matrix. I'm going to send an email to Andrew, myself. I'm going to send him a note. So keep in mind, I'm using this as Samuel, and Samuel's going to say, Andrew, can you give an update on this task? So I put a question mark, send an email, and now I'm going to jump into my Gmail, and you're going to see immediately I just received an email. There it is, project 3D printer preventive maintenance. And you can start to see a description. And you can see Samuel has pushed this to you. So Samuel, the user, I open this up and there I am, 3D printer preventive maintenance, due date on the 8th of June. And immediately I see that I'm responsible for something. So there's Samuel has pushed this to you. And there's my message. Andrew, can you give an update on this task? So dear Andrew, you've been allocated to this standard work activity. There's my checklist. You can see there's me responsible for this task over here. You can see here responsible. I'm not responsible. My role on everything else is nothing because we haven't put me in the RACI matrix. So the other thing I wanted to show you, and then we're going to go straight into questions, I promise, is if you go into the project, if you remember, we have a document that was linked to that project, and here it is, template document. There's our user manual for 3D printing. So anybody responsible for this checklist also has access to any templates that you want them to see. So if I click on that, again, you're going straight to your shared drive and you're looking at the documents that your company wants you to have available to you while you're doing this work. So I'm going to close at that and ask Chris how we're doing on time and questions.
Yeah, so we've got a couple of minutes left. So thanks for that, Andrew. Yeah, so we open to everybody, really. If anybody's got any questions or anything they'd like to ask, then please feel free.
How many people do we have still? 18 people.
18, yeah.
We haven't
got any questions in the chat, so...
I saw someone earlier that asked something, but...
yeah, no.
Does anybody want to ask a question? Even if you want to ask verbally, feel free to unmute yourself.
No? Okay.
All right, guys, got 1 minute left. All right, then I'm going to show one last thing that I left out just because I wanted to field questions. But coming back to this, the other automation effort that you can put in place now, everything you just saw. So you can see, let's go back to our 3D printer checklist. Everything you just saw here, you can also put on an automatic timer. So you can come here and say, we're going to do that preventative maintenance on a weekly basis every Wednesday. So now what's going to happen is that checklist you saw every Wednesday, it's going to get exported to our PDCA dashboard. The people in the RACI matrix that you've set up are going to be in there and so forth. You could say, we're going to do this once, we're going to do this on the 10th of January, and we're going to do this on the 14th of February. And then you turn on the annual button here, and this again automatically makes these things get exported to the dashboard. So I think we got a question. Thank you for your time. My pleasure. How long do you need to set this up in the system? Yeah, great question. So I'm going to show you the slide that'll give you the answer. And of course, we'll be happy to explain, help you do this. But anyway, oh, there was a slide that gives you all this. I thought I had it. Okay, sorry, lost the slide, but I'll answer your question for you. Basically, you need a couple hours with one or two team leaders. So what we need to do is, and we can help you do this. Actually, let me talk a bit about the offer, just so you can understand how we can help you if you want to get this going. Basically, special offer is this. We'll give you the first month free, and we'll help you with the setup and training. So that means is we'll be available for 2, potentially 3 sessions. As long as your company approves this, we'll even put your org chart in there to a level so that you can start using it, and we'll give you 2, potentially 3 sessions completely free. And those sessions, you wouldn't need more than 1 hour each. So after those sessions, you would then be in a position to start using the system. And basically, I would recommend you spend 1 or 2 hours per week at the beginning putting activities on the dashboard. So that's how much it costs you from a engagement point of view. Now, if you can try to do this all yourself, but you're going to spend a bit more time trying to figure the system out. I guarantee you, it's a very robust system. The last thing I really want to show you, I missed it again, is so basically when you're in here and you're putting your projects in here, when you're putting activities, the other thing you can do, you can start linking these things. So I forgot to say, I set up this 3D printer. Now I'm going to link it to the actual 3D printer itself. And this comes directly, what you see here are all the assets from my dashboard that you saw set up at the beginning. There's my 3D printer right at the top. So I drag and drop that here. You can see there's my 3D printer. And now you can see this activity here is linked to an asset. Now, while I'm here, I can link to a lot of things, including documents and KPIs. Let's link it to a client. So let's link it to Amazon. So Amazon's our client. So now we're linked to Amazon. So you can see this activity here, it's linked to an asset. And there it is, our 3D printer. It's linked to a client, which is Amazon. There it is. So now what this gives you that top-down security. What's the #1 thing I should be working on today? So obviously, I'm going to now go to the advanced dashboard. What you see on the dashboard, I filtered only by things open today. Now I'm going to say, show me everything. So these are all the things in the PDCA cycle. I'm going to go up a level. And you're going to see these are all the things that this company is working on right now. And if I click on this button, you're going to see everything in PDCA format. Of course, I can come in here and click on anything and go straight to the task list. But what I'm interested in, you look at this and you're like, wow, a lot of stuff going on. You can say, okay, fine, let's just talk about accounts. Let's talk about Amazon today. So I come here, there's my clients, there's Amazon. I got 4 things in this company that are linked to Amazon right now. There's my 4 projects. Now, from an asset management point of view, I'm going to say I'm interested in our 3D printer. And that's what this slide here is getting us warmed up to, the fact that this printer isn't just something that the engineering team uses. You can see finance needs to do amortization on this printer. Marketing needs to do publicities and brochures on this printer. Quality control needs to do prototype and quality assurance activities. Purchasing needs to do materials purchasing for the actual printer and the things you need to run it. Manufacturing does time studies and analytics. And of course, engineering does the preventative maintenance on the printer itself. So now if you look at this dashboard, you can say, okay, I'm just interested in the things that are going on in this company that are linked to my printer. So here's my 4-tier asset taxonomy. Here we're going to be talking about equipment. Let's talk about specialized tools. That's our 3D printer. And there's our 3D printer. You can see there's our 3D printer, the description. These are all the things in the PDCA dashboard that are linked to our 3D printer. And there's our 3D printer. These are all the things that keep this printer under control. So again, I wanted you to see that because I think it's very important. I'm going back to the questions now. Chris, did you want to add anything?
No, we've just got a couple more questions in there, Andrew, if you could answer those.
Okay, so let's see. How long do you need to set up the company? I answered that, unless Elena has more of a question on that. Is there any software for all these activities? We do link. So we have a team of developers that are working 6 days a week. So if you have an ERP system that already has these things being tracked, we'll be delighted to get those things landing on your dashboard. If you want, we can also link to any project management solutions that already has PDCA activities. We'll be happy to link them here so that you can start updating them via the Presto system. What about security access from outside the company, Gmail? So basically, we're a cloud-based solution. You can use this in cloud. You can sign up online. Of course, if you would like an enterprise contract with us, if you like an enterprise agreement, we'll be happy to set up your own personal server that has everything just for you. In fact, if it was a big license agreement, you may even consider an on-premise installation where we'll give you your own copy of the solution, and of course a long-term servicing contract with our development team. But from that point of view, I see you're asking security access from Gmail. If you're referring to when you saw me open up the documents from the dashboard, well, basically, the only reason we got to see those is because I have access to those folders. So at the end of the day, it's more of an IT administration discussion, not really a technical discussion, just making sure that the people in your company have access to the folders of the documents they're trying to go to. So obviously, if you didn't want somebody to see a document linked to a process, you would make sure they don't have access to the folder or the document that they're accessing. Thank you for your time. Yeah, thank you as well, Joshua. Good day. My name is Engineer Tatwenda in Zimbabwe. Kind of requesting your contact details. Yeah, so feel free to.
I've added an Andrew. I've added your email too. Then to
excellent.
The line.
And of course, you can definitely come on our website and book a demo straight from there. How about HR? Yeah, there's a ton of HR features. We're not going to go into them today, but HR features you can start aligning people's process competencies to the processes. You can start aligning people's transversal skills to the skill types that you're actually looking for. There'll be a demo on this for sure somewhere in the future, just to give you an idea what this dashboard looks like. If you wanted to, you could say, show me all the, go into the, this is what we call this is the transversal skills library. So I can say, show me all the people in this company that know how to use Microsoft. And I can see there's engineering. I got 6 people that are Excel experts, and there they are, 6 people on Mario's team. And I might say, no, Danny is not she can't do this alone. She can use Excel, but with help. And here's where you can come in and quickly grab those things. Again, we could spend a lot of time on this topic. If you're from HR and this is of interest, contact us. We'll be happy to give you a personal demo. I don't see. How about HR? Thank you for that. Any other questions? Okay. Chris, did you want to add anything before we close?
No, not at all. Just to say to everybody that if you do want to get in touch, please via the website or I put Andrew's email into the chat. So we're both on LinkedIn. So please feel free to get in touch. We'd be delighted to speak with you.
Okay.
One message. Oh, thank you. Okay, cool.
All right, guys. Have a great rest of the week. Keep in mind, we are focusing on doing at least 2 demos a month on Wednesdays, and we're trying to do in the Western Hemisphere, Eastern Hemisphere. So keep in mind, keep our webinar Wednesday in mind. And again, if you think your company's interested in this, reach out. We'll be happy to speak with you privately and even give you a private demo if you think your company's interested. All right, guys. Nice to meet you all. See a lot of new faces.
Thanks, everyone. All the best.